You can't care more than the client. I mean, what are you doing? You know, I've actually heard people say that. People in the wedding business, people who are DJs and florists and officiants and caterers. You're making a mistake, caring more about the event than the client does. Hi, I'm Bill. This is Creative License, and thank you to my sponsors, Electrovoice, DJ Event Planner, Promo Only, Disc Jockey News, Perfect Portals, and of course my workshop, The Entertainment Experience. I've heard this before, and I've actually talked about this with friends of mine, even with my wife, right? And even with my clients, because I've heard things from them after events when they've said things like, well, you seem to care more about my wedding than I did. Well, let me tell you, it was never a bad thing when I heard that, and it was never a bad thing in their eyes. Caring more about it than the client, if that's frustrating to you, maybe it's because there's a communication gap. Normally, you know, we get an idea of what things will be, and then you get clients who are like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, I just want it to be good. You know, can you just not bother me with stuff, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Just do your thing. And then you think to yourself, well, if they don't care, why should I care? Well, I would say that that's exactly why you should care. Because normally, if you think about it, as many weddings as you have done, as many times as you've done this, as many clients as you have made happy and you've cared about, you've done many, many more times this kind of event than the person you're standing in front of, especially if it's a wedding client, because they're more than likely standing in front of you for the very first time. Even if it's the second time, they're probably planning a party like this for the first time. They don't know what they're doing. They're not sure what they want. All they can usually communicate is, I just want it to be good. Okay, well, we know what good is. We know what bad is. We know the path to get to good and bad. So usually when you hear that, it feels like they're trying to get you to say, just shut up and leave me alone. And if that's what they're trying to say, and you're the kind of person that needs to collaborate, well, then maybe that's not your client, maybe. But I've had those clients. I've had those people that like, I just don't know. They don't know how to tell you. They don't know how to explain to you what they want. So your job now is to communicate with them enough, to talk to them enough, to listen to them enough, because you really are asking questions and listening, to begin to see what their definition of I just want it to be a great party is. And if you ask the right questions and you listen long enough and hard enough, you'll be able to see those bits and pieces that are going to be important to them. Because it might not be that there's a huge dance party and, hey, you saw me DJ at a club and you know I can rock the place, so I mean, we're going to do it there. That may not be what they think is a great party, right? They may have been at 4 weddings before they got engaged, and every one of those weddings' entertainers were awful. And they just heard you were good, and they don't know how to make a good DJ. In fact, they're just hoping you won't be as bad as them. Did you hear what I just said? They're hoping you won't be as bad as what they've seen, because that's all they know. So within the discovery process, within the planning process, within the time you take to get to know them, you need to ask the right questions and listen to the right things and actually hear what they have to say. Hear what matters to them, because when you hear it, you will be able to help define for them what that greatness is going to be. And now all of a sudden they do care, because, well, truth is they did care before. They just didn't know how to tell you. They don't know how to say, I don't know if I have the bandwidth to care that much, because I don't know how I would do it. They would love to see a wedding that's this, this, and this, but they've never seen one like that. So why would I even try? I'm not even going to try. You know, I'll just get the good DJ, the guy who thinks he's good, or the guy I think is not bad, and maybe he won't screw up, and maybe things will be great, and maybe that's terrible. No wonder they don't care, or they don't seem to care, because they don't think it is in their capacity, and they don't believe that they have the knowledge to be able to be sure that they can have what they want, because they got nowhere to get to. They got no way to explain that they just don't want that, right? I just don't want it to suck. It's not what you need to hear. And then you say things like, well, it just seemed like that I cared more about their event than they did, so then I just kind of showed up and just played music because they didn't care. Why should I care? You should care because they don't seem to care. You need to be able to be on the same page, because when they're on the same page with you about what this could be, and they get excited about it because you've talked to them and listened to them long enough, then there's not a whole lot you can do wrong as long as you care enough about their wedding to give them the thing that they don't think is possible in the first place. Because trust me, they do not think they can possibly have someone as good as you to be able to promise a party as good as you say you can deliver. What do you think of this? I'd love to know your comments. I know this is a little different thinking, but if you lean into it, I think it could make a big difference. I'm Bill, this is Creative License, and I will see you next week.